bevo.com.
One of the things that I found fascinating when I worked in Pepsi-Cola, and I was headed sales operations, worldwide for the international business, and it's great because I saw people in China, I saw people in India and in Russia and Asia and all the different areas that you go to, South America, and I spent time in every market. And human beings, although we all have cultural differences and we do things in different ways, the basic reason that we come to work is pretty similar, right? I want to get paid. I'd really like to enjoy it. I like to work with people I really want to work with, and I want to have a vision and a passion for why I'm doing this and why am I involved in doing it, right? And wherever you are. And so, the fundamental thing you can do as a chief executive is tap into that and say, okay, what are we trying to do? And satisfy those questions. And if you're not giving people a reason other than a paycheck at the end of the month to do X and Y, if they're not part of creating something, building something, enjoying something, then you know what, the first opportunity they get, they go, and you'll have high turnover. And we haven't got it right in many respects, and we continue to learn, we continue to change, but you've got to constantly work at it.
One of the things that successful companies like yourself seem to always have is a chief executive that's passionate about getting talent into the organization. So tell me about how organizations can get grade A talent.
Yeah, I think the thing is, we start off as a very small business. One thing that smaller business have as a disadvantage against very large, well-known businesses is the ability to, attract that talent in the first place, right? But the thing I find is that if you have a cadre or team of very high talented people migrate and navigate towards it. And one of the learnings, and one of the key business learnings that I took out of Dell and Michael Dell and how that works was where he had a very clear view, which is A quality people, A grade people, recruit A grade people. B grade people tend to recruit C grade people because one, they're worried about whether they're better than them. Secondly, they worry about the quality. Maybe they don't know what good looks like and everything else. So as a chief exec, make sure the leadership team that you have working for you are the best possible talent you can have, even if that means paying for it, right? And as a small company, it's often difficult, and you think about budgets, etc., because it will pay back in spades in terms of the quality of management you get, the quality of leadership, and the ability that you have to attract other great people. And as we've grown up as an organization, not everybody's sort of kept pace with the growth that we have as jobs have got bigger, and that's natural. And you say thanks and you celebrate the time that they've had with them, and then you move on. Other things are, there are gaps and competencies as you become bigger that you just need to go out and recruit new talent for. And when you're sat opposite the talent, if you've been looking and recruiting for a while, you have your internal gut barometer that's operating and looking for it. And what I look for is passion, right, to come back to that word again, right? I look for people who have an understanding of why they're doing what they're doing and how that impacts into the bigger picture. And I'm looking for a proven set of results and a track record of achievement in terms of making that work. And those are just three things, and there's lots of other things as well. But I'm really trying to understand what are the personal drivers and motivation for that person to achieve those things, and do they have a track record of delivering? And invariably, if they do, then the chances are you can work with them. They may not have domain experience, they may not have the right industry experience, they may be that, but if they have that passion, the drive, the will to achieve, the intellect to get there, and a proven track record, chances are they can do it again with you if you help them do it.
Okay, so when you're interviewing somebody, you're looking less for the skills necessarily, but the things that will transfer into love film, like the behavior and the habit of overachieving. If they've overachieved in the past, they're likely to overachieve for you in love film. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, the other way to look at it is to say, why would somebody who hasn't consistently overachieved suddenly with you become a fantastic overachiever? Now that is an incredibly arrogant, thing to say, well, I'm a better manager, I can do this, I can do that. The chances are there's a reason why, that hasn't happened. And just get those people that have done it. Because you know what, if they've done it, help them do it again. Give them the keys. Let them get on with it. Let them succeed. And, and empower them to make these decisions to do it again.
Knowing the fact that exceptional people don't want to work for mediocre managers, let's just say you've got a manager in an interview that isn't able to sell very well, what do you do then? I mean, do you as the chief executive have to come in and sort of close the deal, as it were?
Well, I think that's where your culture comes in, right? You don't, an organization is a big living, breathing thing that, that changes all the time, and I can't take responsibility, and, I'm sure I know we all have strengths and weaknesses, right? But can't take responsibility for every person's management in the organization. We introduced recently, even though we're relatively small, a management development program for all our middle managers and our high performers to go on to begin to develop those emotional intelligence skills, the leadership skills, the things that are going to drive and make a difference, alongside their basic competencies and ability to do a job. So, it does need development. It's like any new muscle, that you exercise. You need to practice it, you need to work it, you need to get feedback on how that's going as you go forward.
But I think a lot of chief executives or a lot of people out there think that sales is somewhat a dirty word. When it's the lifeblood of all organizations. Would you say that even you as chief executive, one of your key roles is salesmanship?
Yeah, I think we're all selling every day, right? That's when we're out there on the street and we chat to people, we're selling in some way, shape or form. Never say you're not a salesman, because everybody is and needs to be, right, in the job they have. What you've got to be incredibly careful with when you're recruiting talent is that you're not overselling, right? Because what will happen is you'll get that disconnect in the early stages of somebody coming into a job that ultimately leads to disappointment, right? And you have to, because you can't do the management all the time, because you can't do everything all the time, and because different people have different needs, right? There's certain groups in the organisation that other people are much better at managing than I am, right? So give them to them, make that work. And ensure that you are constantly revisiting that. And that's where our quarterly performance review and cycle helps us as a business in terms of looking at what's working and what's not working. Yeah. And one thing that just really excites me in an organization is where you see people that potentially aren't performing and suddenly they get it, they want to work, they get the energy, they get the drive. I sort of in love them call it a swallowing the red pill. They just like, this is it now. I'm off. And watching them perform and watching them grow and giving them more responsibility and giving them more, recognition and remuneration as they go forward. That's pretty exciting.
Bevo